Welcome to Alert Tales, where we dive deep into the most gripping stories of real-life experiences. If you love tales that evoke emotion, spark conversation, and connect us all, you're in the right place. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and join our community for more captivating stories that will keep you on the edge of your seat.
I'm fighting like hell to keep my daughter, who's 13, from moving in with her father. I had my daughter at 21. 2 weeks after telling him I was pregnant, which was what he wanted and I was still on the fence about, he quit his job. He sat around all day while I was at work playing video games, drinking, and cheating on me the entire time, so I left before she was even born. He didn't pay child support for 11 years, and instead worked construction jobs under the table for cash. He had a second daughter with another woman and did the same thing. Cheated, stopped working, and sat around drinking all day until she left him too with their newborn. He's never made an effort for our daughter, or the other, in all of these years. When she was a baby, he'd take her once every few months, show her off to his family, take pictures for Facebook, and bring her back with diaper rash and dirty clothes, some other kids' clothes, or no clothes at all. He would dump her off on the women in his family to watch while he drank in his room. She's played 4 years of softball and is kicking ass, and he hasn't made it to a single game. Always a lame excuse. I've seen text messages where he's asking what grade she's in and how old she is. For fuck's sake, how do you not know such basic details about your own daughter? He's now on woman and kid number 3, has a newborn, and does seem to be getting his act together a bit, but it's only been a year since he's been working and paying child support. He got his license back. That's great. I hope he continues to do well. Maybe people can change after all. He's been getting in her ear lately, telling her she should come live with him and how wonderful it would be, and she seems to be eating it up, but I just don't trust it at all. Every time I call to check up on her when she's visiting him, she's alone and babysitting their newborn. I've had to video call her and help her calm the baby down by making funny faces, etc., while they're out at the bar or out to eat. She's always alone and has no idea where the adults are. I think he's only after her because she's now 13, a free babysitter, and he can leave her alone in the house unsupervised. She's angry at me because I'm her villain. I know it. I force her to go to school on time, finish her homework, and I have rules and boundaries. Her dad is the cool parent, but she's desperate to move in with him for all of the wrong reasons. She had a falling out with her friends and wants to change schools. She hates me, and I'm ruining her life by not simply handing her over to him without court supervision. I am making it difficult. If he wants her to live with him, he can challenge me for custody. I know that he won't bother, and honestly, I'm abusing that knowledge. Take me to court. Fucking fight me then. Fuck you for disappointing our daughter year after year, and only caring now when she's old enough to be of use to you.
I'm tired of having to pay for my older brother. My brother, who's 34, will stay with my husband, who's 30, and me, who's 32, now and then. He likes to go out to nice restaurants and events with us, but when the time comes to pay, he doesn't ever want to. He always acts like we owe him a meal and a good time while he's visiting. He doesn't do this to just us either. He has done it to many of his friends and even my brother-in-law, who has since stopped hanging out with my brother. I should also mention that my husband is very generous, and yes, he does make a good amount of money, and so do I. My brother has a job and lives with my parents, but he doesn't pay rent and hardly helps them around the house. My mom and dad expect my husband and I to pay for him to do things with us. Otherwise, he will miss out on fun experiences and trips. For example, we paid for his plane ticket so he could go on a trip with my husband's family. It took him almost 7 months to pay us back for that. Yet he had money to buy fancy sneakers and drugs. Another time, he asked my husband to cover him for a set of expensive golf clubs, almost $1,000, and hasn't even paid it back fully to this day. He always has excuses for why he can't send money or makes my husband feel bad for asking. A more recent time was when he stayed with us for a weekend, and we ended up paying for his round of golf and drinks. He threw a fit when we told him he should split the bill for our dinner at a fancy steakhouse, which he suggested we go to. Fast forward to today. My mom and I aren't speaking due to a fight about my brother. She thinks my husband is always asking for money from my brother. My dad is trying to convince me to get my husband to talk to my brother again. My husband told my brother that he is no longer welcome at our home and that he should never expect him to pay for anything ever again. Should we be paying for my brother? This most recent situation has created a wedge between my parents and me, but I feel it's for the best. They always take his side and don't even bother to hear our side of the story. I didn't particularly appreciate how she immediately took my brother's side and said my husband was a jerk for demanding money from my brother, which wasn't even the case. One important note: my parents have always been extremely generous with my husband and me. We owe them the world. My brother, on the other hand, has never paid for anything. When it comes to my parents, we're always very generous with them also. We bring them gifts as often as possible. I feel that perhaps my parents assume that since they have helped us so much, we are obligated to pay for my brother.
My boyfriend cheated on me and it's breaking my brain. Hi everyone, I'm gonna try to word this as best as possible while leaving out identifiable details as he uses Reddit regularly, but I need advice from people not close to the both of us. This year has been hell for me. It feels like some new issue arises every few weeks. Anything from car issues to, well, this. We have been together for about 8 months, but I have some lovely friends who provided proof that he had been talking to another woman for about 3 months, and he hooked up with her at least once.
In the moment, this destroyed me, but I quickly became numb to it, and as he tried to make it better, mostly by spending more time with me, I just wanted to be comforted more than anything. I don't have many local friends, and my family is not in the picture. While he's trying to be better, I believe, I can only remember how weirdly mean he was to me before I found out.
I know I've done things in the relationship, but nothing that warrants going behind my back with a betrayal like that. So, now I'm here. I feel big feelings about it sometimes, but mostly I'm just numb. I know that if I want to stay with him, I have to be able to let it go. I don't feel like a relationship with that over someone's head is healthy for either party. However, I have the worst brain fog and cannot make a choice.
The holidays are very close and I wanted to spend them with his family. I've become friends with his friends and have hoped to build a life with him and have a family together. I love him dearly and feel so safe around him. But what questions should I be asking myself, him, or other people?
I know either way it'll all work out, but at this point I'm at a loss. Should I stay and try to work it out, or leave and call it a loss? TLDR, my boyfriend cheated and I can't choose whether to stay or go. My boyfriend and I jumped into a relationship before I was ready, but I feel like I could love him and don't want to lose him. I met my boyfriend Mason a couple of years ago through mutual friends, whilst in a relationship with my ex, Frankie. Mason and I chatted sparingly throughout, but when we ran into each other through mutual circles, we always chatted nicely and got on well. Mason and Frankie knew each other but weren't super close.
When Frankie and I broke up after 1.5 years, Mason was immediately there for me, supporting me, telling me that I deserved better than what Frankie had been like. We ended up talking loads about life, relationships, hobbies, interests, everything, and realized just how much we had in common.
When Mason asked me out a couple of weeks in, I wanted to slow things down, which Mason was okay with, but said how much he liked me. I liked Mason too, but wasn't sure if I saw him as a potential boyfriend just yet, but had chemistry. I wanted to just still be uncommitted, but Mason wanted to be all in. It got to a point where our feelings were growing, but there was an impasse.
When Mason said he'd back right off, I felt like I could lose him, and said I could be okay with seeing how things go with him. We ended up meeting up one-on-one after a month of breakup, and we got on so well, but I wanted to still have some element of non-committal, but that wasn't an option.
I agreed to be exclusive and Mason agreed to let me set the pace. We've been together for over a month now and I said I was ready to be boyfriend and girlfriend, which made him super happy. I felt like I could see a future with Mason and we got along amazingly well and have so much chemistry, but there's a part of my mind that just doesn't know if I'm emotionally ready to commit fully.
I feel like I missed out on just taking time out for myself to recover emotionally, and now I'm in a commitment that I really enjoy. I love being with him, I love talking all the time, but it's faster than what I wanted and I don't know if I'm ready. TLDR, met an amazing guy way too soon after last boyfriend.